Hi everyone, here's a little math pun. We're through. I need someone more functional. I thought you just wanted to be in a well-rounded relationship. So circles aren't functions, but the parabola is. And what we're going to do is we're going to, this may be new or maybe review, but we're going to talk about function notation. So there, now it's in focus. Notation is a way to write something. That's what the word notation means. So function notation means a way to talk about functions. Instead of saying x and y, we could now say f of x equals y. So we put them here and here, and it means the same thing. Okay, let's get into it. Sorry. The notation f of x is read f of x, so you need to practice saying that out loud. If you say fx, that's wrong. That's a channel on the television. Okay, f of x. F of x is a notation of a function that actually represents y. So it's a big, big deal, you guys. The big idea is that f of x equals y. Anytime there's a number over here, it means it's a y value, and then you can replace these interchangeably and substitute them. Anytime there's a number in here in the parentheses, that represents x always. So f of x equals y. Now the zeros of a function are when y equals 0 or f of x equals 0, and you're trying to find the x value for when this equals 0. Recap, when x equals 0, we get a y-intercept. And if you go, yeah, that's y equals mx plus b, that's only for a line. Anywhere you plug in 0, you will get the y-intercept if you plug in 0 for x, excuse me. But when y equals 0, those are the zeros or roots or x-intercepts, okay? When we had the high school exit exam, this was a big deal. The y-intercept and the x-intercepts, and you need to know that you plug in the opposite letter. So to find the y-intercept, you let x be 0, but to find the x-intercepts, you let y be 0, and it's usually a little bit more complicated of solving, and that's what we're going to practice today. Okay, you ready? Here we go. So if this says f of x equals -2 times x plus 3 quantity squared plus 4, find each of the following values. So f of -4, that means x equals -4. So do you see how this x was replaced with -4 on the left side of the equation? So on the right side of the equation, wherever I see the x, you see there's an x here, I'm going to replace it with -4. So that's the idea of function notation, where whatever was here, you have to replace it. It's always on the left, there's the x, and on the right, there is the x. So here was -4. So wherever the x was, I switched it out for -4. Now, we do not solve side to side in function notation. Function notation is, you might see the word evaluate, find. When it says find, evaluate, but not solve. Evaluate. Or simplify, but not really simplify. Mostly it's evaluate. Evaluate means plug in and find the answer. I'm going to stop talking and just get to the notes. Okay, -4 plus 3. We got to use order of operation, right? So parentheses. So that'd be -1. Now, what's the next step? Are we going to multiply or square? What does PEMDAS say? Parentheses or grouping symbols. Gem. Have you ever heard the G before? Am I going too fast? All right, parentheses, exponent is going to come next. So it's going to be -2 times -1 squared is +1. And then -2 plus 4 equals 2. All right, let's do another one. So we're going to plug in -1. So wherever the x was, we're going to switch it out for -1. Because it used to say f of x, and now it says f of -1. Parentheses, exponents, multiply, add and subtract from left to right. I'm going to check these for mistakes later, but I hope I'm good. I hate to post a video with mistakes. Now x is 0. So if x is 0, what are we actually finding here? We're actually finding the y-intercept. Now you can't just say it's 4 because that's on the end, because this is not in standard form and it's not y equals mx plus b, so we have to actually plug in 0 and evaluate. Okay, 0 plus 3 is 3, and 3 squared is 9. Negative 2 times positive 9, negative 18. And this is negative 14. Did you catch any errors? I hope not, but we're going to see. We'll see. Okay, now we're going to graph this, and this is a great lesson because we're going to review what we just tested on. So to graph this, do you know what the vertex is? So the vertex is going to be the opposite of the inside, so negative 3 plus 4, because it is in vertex form. So negative 3, we're going to go back 3, and we're going to go up 4, like that. Now, does this open up or does it open down? It's going to open down because of why? The negative in front. So a equals negative 2, which means here I'm going to go down 2 and over 1 and down 2 and over 1. All right, this is asking questions about negative 4 and negative 1. So I have the point for negative 4, but I don't have the point for negative 1. So to make this a little bit more official, let's plug in negative 1. But wait a minute, didn't we plug in negative 1 here? What did we get? When x is negative 1, remember this is a y value, y is negative 4. So negative 1, negative 4. And will the pattern be the same, correct? The pattern will be the same. So it's going to be over here. Does that look like a nice parabola? Could you check it on Desmos? Yep. Oh man, I was doing so good, and then look at that. Bummer. Okay, question. I think you're supposed to use a graph for these questions. When x is negative 4, what did we get as our y value? 2. When x was negative 1, what did we get as our y value? Negative 4. So what's the point here? What did we do? We plugged in negative 4 here, and we got 2. And on our graph, negative 4x equals y of negative 2. And the negative 1x was the y value of negative 4, and that's what happened when we plug in here. What about here? 0 gave us negative 14. Did that fit on our graph? No. Is it going in the right direction, though? Yeah, it'd be 12, 13. It'd be right around here, okay? The y-intercept. Based on your graph, estimate where the zeros would be. Zeros, oh no, I forgot. What are zeros? Zeros are when y equals 0, which are the x-intercepts. So we're going to estimate. Your graph might be a little bit better than me. X is approximately, I don't know, what do you guys think? I don't think it's 4.5. I'm going to say 4.3. And x is approximately, I don't know, negative 1.7? Approximate. Estimate your best estimate. Okay. Based on the graph, we cannot determine exactly what the zeros of the function are according to the graph between what pairs of x values do the zeros of the function lie. Isn't that kind of what this, same question kind of, but this just says, so we're going to say between negative 4 and negative 5. What's another way to write this? We could be super mathematicians and say, we could do this, right? So between negative 4 and 5 and between negative 2 and negative 1. So let's flip it over. These are our estimates. Flip your paper over. Should be here. On the previous page, we looked at this function and we found the values of y by substituting in x values. Now suppose we set the equation f of x equals a and solve for x. That means we're not plugging into x, we're actually going to find x. For f of x, solve the following equations algebraically and then check your solutions on the graph. So we'll flip it over to see if we're doing it right. f of x equals 0. You ready? Get set. So now we're not plugging 0 in for x because it's not there. It says what is x? X is our variable. We're going to find x when the function equals 0. So that's like the big idea, you guys. This is what we need to do. We need to find x. Okay. Here's our, can we solve this just by inverse operations? Yes, we don't need to factor or use the quadratic formula because we like this x plus 3 squared. We know we can take a square root of that. What's the next step? Next step, divide by -2. Negative divided by negative is a positive. And how do we get rid of that square, the square there? So the inverse of the exponent of 2 is a square root, and I don't know about you, but I never leave enough room here, but that's supposed to be plus or minus. We should know that by now, right? Oh well, doing the best we can. And then what's the final step? The final step is to subtract 3 from both sides. All right, what does x equal? X will equal -3 plus or minus the square root of 2. We're supposed to check our solutions on the graph, but I don't know what this is, so I should get a calculator out. Let's see if I can get one on the screen here. There you are, just like that. It's like I'm a professional. Clear. Okay, 2 square root, ta-da, plus 3, but I need that 3 to be negative. Can I switch it right here? This button? Okay. Negative 1.585. I'm going to round to just 1 decimal. Oh no, my thing froze. My hand froze. Okay. What else are we going to do? We're going to do square root of 2. 2 square root. We have to go backwards on this calculator. We're going to make this negative, and then we're going to add a -3. Don't worry, I will unfreeze my hand right now. Okay, let's unfreeze my hand. Thank you for your patience and understanding. I'm still here. There we go. Okay, so when we plug this into the calculator, I got these two things, 4.4, 1.6. Oh, mine's not. You flip it over. How do we do? What did I say? Oh my goodness, not bad, not bad. Yeah. -4.3, it was -4.4, -1.7, -1.6. Okay, I got a couple minutes. Ooh, but very few minutes. Ready? We're going to do this. Now, instead of it equal to 0, we're going to set it equal to -4. So -4 goes over here, and we're supposed to find x. I'm going to follow the same steps, just it's not 0. So what's -4 and -4? -8, very good. -8 divided by -2 is a +4, which is good because now we can square root. So my lights shut off, sorry. So this is going to equal 2 and -2. Oh my gosh, where did I do this magic? What magic is this? So what happens when you take the square root of 4? We get a +2 and a -2. That's what I wrote down. All right, what does x equal here? Subtract 3, so we get this. And what does x equal here? Okay, check the graph. So we're supposed to check the graph. When x is -1 and -5, what's the y value supposed to be? Remember, the y is what we started with. This is y. Y is what we started with. So do you think we did it? What do you think? When x is -1 and -5, do we get y equals 4? When x is -1, what was the y value there? -4. And when x was -5, what was the y value? -4. Isn't that cool? So when y was -4, we got these two answers. And when y was 0, we got these two. Awesome. Good job.